Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It is the FIDE Grand Swiss round 4. And I will be honest, there are some amazing games to cover, but in terms of the top of the leaderboard, there was not much action to be seen. The game before you, Parham Maghsoodloo versus Nordivek Abdusatorov, ended in a king versus king draw. I was very excited to see Amin Mishra versus Pragdananda Ramesh Babu. And they did fight. It was close, but ultimately, after 57 moves rather, it ended in a draw. We also had the Battle of the Indians, World Champion Gukesh versus potentially one of the candidates, Arjun Erigaisi, still near the top. It was an intense battle. But after 46 moves, 95, the game ended in a draw. So where do we go? Well, I'm taking you to one of the stories that looking out for. Deshmukh. She had a tough first round. She's come back with 2 draws in round 2 and round 3. We revisit her game once again. She's got the black pieces against Amin Basim, or Basim Amin, and we have e4 and c5 from Deshmukh. Knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, e5, knight c3. So we get this interesting version of the Sicilian with an early e5, a6 kicking out the bishop, bishop to a4, b5 kicking it out further all the way back to c2, now knight to f6. Short castles, bishop to e7, d4, d6. And I'll be honest, this structure almost resembles a Roy Lopez. If you're uncertain what I'm talking about, we go back to the beginning, e4, e5, knight f3, knight to f6, bishop here. And there are lines. When you kick the bishop out, you get this. Bishop to e7, c3, short castles, knight comes out, here, c5, here, and knight retreats back. Look at this position. It's taken 10 moves to get there. Now look at this position. Black hasn't castled, they played d6. So this could have come from a Roy Lopez. So d5 now kicks the knight out to a5, b3, short castles, h3, some preparatory moves, to d7, bishop to e3, and now knight e8. We're going to be rerouting the knight, potentially preparing f5. Knight bd2, knight b7, it now gets home. I don't know where it's going to go. That's the problem with this knight. It doesn't have natural squares. You've probably got to push this forward to get it in here. That's probably going to be the big plan. So we play b4 to prevent that a little bit. C takes b4, c takes b4. And now g6, a4, f5. Takes f5, g takes f5. Black is preparing a kingside attack. Unfortunately, they have opened their king, and it is +1 for white. Deshmukh is worse. a5, locking down the queen side. Bishop to f6, rook to a3. We are now preparing to swing the rook this way, but the game is level. King to h8, rook e1, knight to e7, knight to f1, rook to c8, to g3. We are rerouting the forces to where they need to go. Black has seized the open c file. White has rerouted their knights to useful squares. What is going to happen? Queen e8, and now bishop to h6. A slight inaccuracy. Queen to f7, knight to g5. Hits the queen, forces it to move. Or does it? Because you just play bishop takes g5, which is an error. It was better to play queen to g6. This was the better move. And then you would get bishop takes g7 and bishop takes g7. And according to the engine, this was the better position. Instead of snap taking and now playing f4, white is better. Knight e4, bishop to f5, and now here, a couple moves. The best move is to play g4. Brave, because I would be worried about en passant, but en passant is kind of forwarded because you just let f takes g3. And you are not worried about this trade because even though you get queen f2, king here, and you're fine. And you are fine. This position is completely fine. Instead of that, we have bishop to f6, which is a mistake, and it's not the first mistake that kills you, because you've got queen g6, the game is still level, so we trade with the bishops. Now g4 comes, no en passant, we leave the bishop to hang. Not really, the queen is pinning it to the king, so you can't take, so it's just a vague threat. King to h2, now it can be taken, so we move the bishop out the way. We look for a rook trade, but I win a pawn. And black is now completely winning, and they're still completely winning if in this position Deshmukh played rook to d4. Attacking the queen, centralizing the rook, would have been completely winning. Instead of that, she plays f3, looking to lock the king in, lock him down. There are two holding moves in this position. You must play either queen to c1 or queen to d2 and get on this diagonal. But here, Amin plays knight to g3, which loses on the spot to rook takes g4. H takes g4, queen h6 check, the knight blocks, we remove it, we offer a queen trade, but rook f4 is the key defense, check, and the king can come out and check, and the bishop blocks with check by the queen. King to g3, queen to g5, bishop to f5, but now simply knight to c5, cutting everything off, bringing the knight in. We have to stack the rook for the knight and push for d6, but bishop to h5, rook g1 is a final defensive attempt at a defensive resource, but bishop takes g4 is mate in 18, and Deshmukh goes on to win this game. She gets up a rook, and she gives a check, and she will stop the pawn. Deshmukh gets her first win. She was not the only person to win today. I must take you. Let me just find the game. Where is he? We are looking now on Prodigy Watch. The Turkish Prodigy, Erdogmus. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so correct me in the comments. Maybe you can help me. We have an English opening. Not going to plug my video, but I am going to plug my video. I've recently made a video on the English opening. C4. E6, an invitation to play a QGD, a Queen's Gambit declined. And we kind of get that. In fact, we do get that. Queen's Gambit declined. And we play an open Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit accepted. C5 now, one of the critical main lines. D5, E takes D5, E takes D5. Bishop to D6. Bishop takes C4. So this is one of the lines in the Queen's Gambit accepted. It's a pretty tame line. Knight E7, H3, short castles, knight to F3, knight D7, and then short castles. Knight B6 now hits the bishop. The bishop gets defended. This bishop, actually, you don't need to hang on to it. You are perfectly fine for them to take it and strengthen this pawn in the center of the board, which is exactly what we get. Knight to G6, knight to E4, bishop to F5 now, hits knight in the center of the board. We simply grab the dark squared bishop, one of the key blockaders of our pawn. White is going to play around this. This is going to win white the game. If they can't push that, black is going to create play around the pawn. So what is going to happen? Queen b3. Now target to weakness. We just played b6. And now black has got a quite solid structure here. A4. Trying to go and play a5 to undermine it. So we play a5 ourselves. Rook e1. Rook f e8. Bishop to e3 now. h6. So you can see preparatory moves. The game is completely level. Rook a2. Bishop to e4 now. Looking to trade the knight. We move the knight out the way, and we play knight to h4. What a lovely move. Allowing this capture with the threat on the bishop. So queen moves here. Threatening mate two different ways. This bishop is hanging, and that is hanging. We play g3, and now look at this. Bishop to g2. Have you ever seen anything like this? Bishop to g2. How do you even come up with a move like this? I mean, all of this move. Bishop to e7 now. Threatens the knight. So we play bishop takes h3, king to h2 now unpinning, so the pawn can take the knight. We get knight to g2 now. The bishop can be taken but can't really be taken. Rook e5. Why can't I just take the bishop? Because you lose to knight takes e1, hanging a rook. So knight g2, you have to move your rook out the way. Rook e5 is the best move. f6, then Feingold flinches somewhere, but f6 is necessary. Queen takes b6. Now you cannot take because of this pin. So we've got knight to f4, now protecting the queen and allowing you to take the rook. Rook slides out the way, but to the wrong square. Now black is better. Queen h5, we're now threatening various mating nets. We give up the knight because we've got bishop g4 check, king to g1, and now rook takes e7. Don't know if you noticed that bishop was still hanging. Rook a1, rook a e8, so now the rooks are doubling, and black is completely swarming the white king. It's just about converting and finding the breakthrough. Rook f1, trying to defend with everything you can, and bishop h3 throws it all away. The only winning move here was to play rook e1, to go here. And then white's best response was to play queen takes a5, to try this through, to allow this, to allow the capture, because it's not a good move. Because knight takes f1, avoids mate, and he's completely winning for white now. They've got 3 passed pawns. This was their strength, so they just have to survive. So bishop h3 throws it all away. d6 now, using one of those passed pawns, completely equal game. Bishop to rook to e2, not bishop to e2. Rook h4 cuts the defense of the queen for the bishop. Queen f5 maintains it for a little while longer. And now here a brave man plays g4, but this loses. Loses on the spot to simply bishop takes g4. You hang a pawn. Anyway, queen f5, queen b5, threatening a queen trade, which would be devastating for black. Kind of. It's not a good move. So we interpose with the rook, rook 8 e5, and now here there's one and only one holding move for white. One and only one holding move, and that is to play queen b8 check. Queen b8 check is the only holding move. Instead of that, Aditya Mittal plays d7, which loses on the spot. You're about to make a queen. Unfortunately, you miss rook takes d2, which now covers the pawn promoting. And even though you have check and king to h7, d8 queen, getting 2 queens on the board, is losing, because it's mate in 6 moves. Mate in 6. Checkmate is unavoidable because of queen takes f2, the sacrifice of a queen. Rook takes f2, rook e1 check, king h2, rook takes f2 check, takes, rook h1, king comes out, check here, and a pawn mate! Credits to their opponent for allowing that to happen. What a game! That's a violation. The queen sack to win it all. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Incredible game from Erdogmus. Sacking a queen. I'm now going to turn the pawn off, the board off, and I will just run you through some of the wins for the people. So Vincent Keimer was the highest board to win. He beat Frederick Sfane, despite being surprised in the opening, in the Battle of the Germans. So Vincent Keimer with the win. Next win was on board 10, and it was Marc-Andria Maurizzi. Actually, let me put that game on. We're not going to go through it, but it was Marc-Andria Maurizzi who defeats Maxime Vachier-Lagrave in just 38 moves. Absolute demolition. A win for Ricard Rapport on board 13. A win for Nordebek Yakuboyev. We obviously saw Nordebek Abdusatorov. Drew Parham Maghsoodloo, so Maghsoodloo still leads. Matthias Blubom with a win. A win for Nikita Vitikov. A win for, obviously, Erdogmus that we showed. Awanda Liang with a win. A win for Sam Sevian. A win for Jordan van Forest. Wins for Amin Tabatabay, for Sam Shankland, for Grigori Oparin, for Shant Sargison, for Nicholas Theodorou, for Vladimir Fedoseev, who suffered a shock defeat. Runak Sadwane, defeating Jan Ludwig Hammer. Wins for Johannes Bulbier and Alexander Udincic. A win for Lu Shengli Yu, one of the Chinese players. Vladimir Vincic, and then we saw Divya Deshmukh also with the win, and then Sanan Sigurov with the win against Tennyson Alicia from Nigeria, who I think has lost all their games, unfortunately. So yeah, this was probably one of the shock defeats. Marc-Andria Maurizzi, he's not a bad player. You can see, I think you can see on the board, draws in the first 2 rounds, then a win against Vladislav Artemiev in the previous round, and now a win with black against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Puts them on 3 points. So there is a large tie for 3rd place. If I go out, I think, can I see the standings? I don't know how to see the standings. Overview. Official website? Standings. How do I see standings? Oh, I saw it there. Hang on. Standings. Still going to open another website. Okay, can you see it on your screen? I don't know if you can. No, you can't. So I'm going to just close this real quick. Very professional. You can see I planned this out. Starting rank, we went rank after 5 out of 11 rounds. Rank after 4 rounds. Rank after 4 rounds. So tomorrow, just quickly on the top board, will be Parham Maghsoodloo with the black pieces against Ricard Rapport. We've got Matthias Blubom versus Pragnanda, Arjun Erigaisi versus Nikita, and we've got Misha Abanu Mishra versus Gukesh D. And after the rankings, it is Parham Maghsoodloo who still leads on 3.5, and then we've got another 13 players all on 3. That's Mishra, that's Irgamis, that's Marc-Andria Maurizzi, Sisiman Gulumaraz, Gukesh, Arjun Erigaisi, Nodebek Abdusatorov, Vincent Kamer, Pragdananda Ramesh Babu, Ricard Rapport, Matthias Blubom, Nodebek Yakuboyev, Nikita Vitakov, and that is the top 14 all on 3, and then Parham leads the way. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I always say, if there's specific players that you want me to cover, specific games, let me know in the comments below, and suggestions in the comments, always welcome. I hope this wasn't too glitchy. I'm looking at the thing now, it says a lot of skipped frames, so I hope it comes out alright. Please be with me, I'm trying to rectify it. And subscribe if you can, if you want to. Until next time, cheers.